Why? I caught my wife in an emotional affair with a former boyfriend, texting. I caught her while we were out with friends, and later that night, after I took her phone, realized the lie she told me about having to work in another town the following Tuesday and may have to stay the night. Rather, it was to meet him. He lives 8 hours away and was visiting our city for business. He is married with children. In March we had our 20th anniversary. We have 2 kids, boy 18, daughter 15. I wish I did the 180 from the start but did the pitbull crap act that I regret now. A couple days after I caught her, she sent him an email saying how sorry she was for getting caught. Saying please don't hate me. I have cried for 4 days thinking of you, and ended the letter by saying you know where to find me if you can forgive me. He has done not respond to her. She says whatever I told him that night, because I called him. Scared the crap out of him. I guess, at that time, I knew this was a deal breaker for me. I kind of tried to reconcile but didn't give my all. We decided to give our a shot until August and reevaluate the situation. Now it gets messy. A younger female I have known over a year provided a caring listening ear. Gave me advice, etc. that started my emotional affair with a girl 18 years younger than me, which after a month turned into a full-on physical affair in June. Last week, I told my wife I want a separation. She said if I do move out there will be no chance of our. She has since backed off that, saying it will be difficult for our Monday. I told the kids I was moving out. They took it better than I could ever imagine. Very understanding. They more mature. 18 to 15, and can sense things. I guess. I put down a deposit on an apartment and I am moving out this coming Wednesday. My plan was to get IC for a couple months and then try to talk my wife into MC, knowing I would have to divulge my physical affair and deal with the fallout. So, last night I am on the iPad and see where she logged onto a social networking site and messaged him. Don't know what was messaged, but I do now know who he is, where he works, where he lives, what his wife's name is, and where she works. She never told me anything about him other than former boyfriend. This was the final straw for me. Now, I have to tell her I know who he is, that I am going to call and tell his wife. Make his life as miserable as my life has been. Duck him. I now want no R. I am going to separate and start the D process. I guess I do not hide my anger and feelings of betrayal. My wife, through all of this, maintains that nothing happened and it wasn't that big of a deal. I even printed off, from this site, how to act when you're the WS. She never took the responsibility. No, I have not admitted my physical affair to her. Hypocritical. I suppose I am guilty. I know I have not handled things perfectly throughout. I was blindsided by the person I considered my best friend. I am about 90% sure I do not want any R now. I'm failing at marriage and failing to deal or handle difficult situations in marriage. Guilty. Failure as parents. That's pretty tough. Both are incredibly well-rounded kids, never been in trouble. Both make excellent grades. Son starting college next week on an academic and athletic scholarship. Daughter should be able to qualify for time trials for the Olympics in swimming. Both have a great circle of friends. My wife is an incredible nurturing mother. I have coached many of my son's little league teams and I have turned down 8 job offers in the past 7 years so my kids can stay in this great school district and remain a part of the circle they have built over the years. I accept my shortcomings and failures in my marriage. I am not perfect, nor do I claim it. To be called a failure as a father, and my wife is a mother. You're pushing the bull crap button a little too hard. For all the other responses, D-Day I was told no contact would ever take place with the OM. That was a lie with the letter she wrote him a couple days later. Okay, I hear you. Vindictive, retaliation, etc. I guess that has been a defense for me all my life. I have always believed an eye for an eye. And yes, I think I thought it was okay for me to progress with an emotional to physical affair of my own. I will say this for 100% certain. Had my wife not done this, I would not have put myself where I am now. I am doing the IC for sure. We'll make the appointment tomorrow. I am moving out not because of my physical affair. Because I can't stay here and my wife will not agree to counseling, either IC or MC. The question I want to be able to answer over the next several months is, do I want to work on my marriage? Things haven't been great for us for 5 years. No huge fights. Money is good, just drifted way apart. Prior to my wife starting this thing, neither has ever strayed, though we could have. Our physical life was non-existent. Only several times a year. I know my emotions are out of whack and I am hopeful with counseling and time this can waver where I can forgive and move past it. Which that is all my wife wants, for me to forget and forgive her, but with her not giving me all the information about her emotional affair. And me finding stuff out 3 months later. I just talked to her and told her I found out she either messaged him last Friday or called or is staying in contact with him. I don't know how, but she denied it, when I have proof and wasn't even looking for proof. I texted her earlier today saying we needed to talk tonight. When she called, she wanted to talk now. I told her I am moving out Wednesday. She said she was hoping I was going to tell her I am staying. No, I know she would change her mind if I told her about my emotional and physical affair. Next, I think you're right, I need to tell her about my emotional and physical affair. Not sure when though. Tonight, after I get counseling. Before, if she agrees, we start counseling. Am I in love with my AP? Great question. I have feelings of love but not sure if it's the fog of being with someone else after 21 years with only one person. Can I see myself with this woman for the rest of my life? Yes and no. I can because of the way we make each other feel. No, because deep down I know she wants things in her life that I have already experienced. Kids. I don't know if I want to be a 60-something-year-old with a teenager. I feel confident though this is not the reason I am separating, to be with my affair partner. Honestly, it's a factor. But not the reason. Did I want to leave before me and my wife's affair? Yes, I have had the thoughts and dreams of it. Our marriage has been shaky to say the least for years. One poster called me a hypocrite. They're right, because as you pointed out, I used my wife's and our broken marriage an excuse to move forward with my emotional or physical affair, and it is giving me an excuse to separate. And it comes back to this question. Do we want to stay married and work on this or we don't? She says, not shows, that she wants to stay together. I do not say neither, because I do not know. The younger woman knew I was married the first day I met her over a year ago. From the day I met her I was drawn to her. Not in any inappropriate way. Never thought someone like that would be interested in me. We were, and still are, very good friends. We both are very similar and have just clicked every time we were together. Can I go back to just being friends with her? Yes, because I care deeply for her and her happiness. I have never had a relationship with a woman like I have with her. No matter what happens in her, mine, our lives, we both agree that we will continue our friendship. We have agreed to stop any and all physical contact until I get my life squared away, which looks like it will take a while. Where I am now, I do not know if I have the necessary motivation to work things out with my wife or want to. Should I try because that's what you're supposed to do? Or do I get motivated to work on my marriage because I said I would 20 years ago? Motivate for my kids and for the future like we had planned for before this past May. I am the WS who said I would commit to counseling. She said she would rather not. We have not been happy with our marriage for a long time. This was a wake-up call for us both. It may sound corny, but a line from one of my favorite movies. Either get busy living or get busy dying seems applicable here. I want to be happy. I think she does but doesn't act like it. I came home last Friday, opened up the iPad, went to my bookmarks, history, and saw she looked him up, messaged. Not sure because she denied even looking him up on that network site. In which she lied again because his name was right there. It was the first time I saw his last name. Since I caught my wife in this she has made very little effort in R. So please do not think she has tried to R since March. I found out about the emotional affair April 30th. I did not sabotage her opportunity for R. The entire month of May she saw the daily struggle I went through, trickle-truth me to death, and would never tell me what she wanted. As stated earlier, our marriage was not great prior to this. I had thought of separation before. But the age of the kids prevented me. Did I screw up? Yes. I strayed while believing I was working on my marriage. Sounds like total bull crap. As I wrote that, we both have had opportunities to work this out, and her lack of effort shows me she didn't want this to work either. I am leaving her alone. When I told her of my discovery last Friday, I told her she can do what she wants to do since I am moving tomorrow. I am not looking at her texts. I am not looking at her call log on the cell phone. Haven't in a couple months. I don't know what the future holds, whether we try to again, or simply go our separate ways. I have not told her about my affair. I know I will have to at some point though. She is mad because I left her, my daughter, and our dog, who can be a pain. She did tell me, the first time I told her I wanted to separate, that there would be no chance of R. That changed last week to little chance of R. I saw her and my daughter yesterday. It was pleasant. We were in public, after they left. I texted her and told her it was nice seeing her. She texted back saying, same here. I am going home next Sunday, to do some work around the house and the yard, and to visit my daughter for some time together. I am tempted to ask my W to sit down and talk and discuss things. I don't know what to expect. I do know what to expect if divulge my affair. I will not trickle-truth her as she did me for 3 months. That and her recent attempt, successful attempt I don't know, to contact her emotional affair partner is what pushed me over the edge. Her emotional affair screwed me up, but really at no time did I think what I was doing with my AP was right. I knew it was wrong but continued almost in a justified type of way. Well, if she is going to do that, then I'm going to do this. Looking back, of course it was childish and immature logic. I do care for my AP. We have cut the physical contact even though I have moved out of the house. But I am still emotionally carrying on with her. I am not sure about my wife's and my future. In her words today in a text, it doesn't look good due to me moving out and the financial strain it has brought on for both of us. Again, it's a mystery whether she is sad, mad, or glad I'm gone. In all honesty, I am sad. I miss my daughter incredibly. I do not miss how I felt living separate lives from my wife, but I also miss my living room, my dog, etc. Living in my house the last 3 months, I felt like I was being lied to whole time because bits of info about her emotional affair continued to trickle. Example, one of her texts to him said, "Sorry, this is a drunk text. I wish I was closer so could come over and to have fun with you." That text was written in early April. I found it April 28th. She told me the details about that text, where she was. She was actually out with me when she wrote it. In mid-June. Sean T. like that. By this August I was done with it all and just couldn't see myself working on our marriage. I said earlier that finding her attempted contact with her AP 2 weeks ago pushed me over the edge. Truthfully, she would not consider going to MC until I actually put a deposit down on my new apartment. I asked her to commit an actual day and time for counseling, and she said she didn't like that I was giving her ultimatums on MC and she will have to see if she can make time for it. To me, that said she is not willing to work for our marriage. I will talk to her Sunday. After all, we have spent 21 years together and I do love her. She gave me and raised 2 of the greatest kids on this earth. Just not sure if love is enough anymore for either of us. I think something said that it is easier to get out of this relationship than to work on it. She's right. If we try to it's going to be a mess dealing with her emotional affair and me exposing my physical affair. But I am willing to try. Not now. Maybe in a couple months. And I will tell her that. Do you really think she could be in love with this guy who she hasn't seen in 22 to 23 years? Or are you saying she could be in love with the memory of that time in her life with him? I loved a girl 23 years ago, thought about spending the rest of my life with her, and I have thought of her maybe 2 times in the 20 years I have been married. What am I going to do to make my life good? I am going to make my kids' life the best that it can be being in this situation. Be available. I am going to bury myself in my work. I love my job, by the way. Very fortunate. Get physically into better shape, not horrible, just could stand to lose some more pounds. Do things to not make me feel so lonely. Stay at the office longer hours. I work 65 to 80 hours. This past week I worked 84 hours. It will be 8 more today. Some of these hours are out of necessity. But a lot is choice as well. I am a people person, outgoing, love to go out and have fun, extreme extrovert. Wife is introverted, uncomfortable in social situations. I am completely opposite, so I do have the ability to stay busy. But I am not a position to meet a lot of new people. I admit it, I do love her. She has hurt me so deeply, and what hurts more is there is very little remorse. Admission, contrition, etc. Therefore it hurts more. I do not know if I can live with her after all this. Yes, we both are sources of pain for each other. And maybe after time and I see, for me, because she isn't having any part of it, I can heal, but for her, I don't know. I know what we are doing now is not working. The first thing we have to do to change things up is to begin communicating, which she is reluctant after 2 requests this past week. I just need some sense of direction from her point of view. My wife will be hurt if she knew about my affair, but, in her words, I would understand, because I am not what you want me to be. She is referencing physically. I am talking to one friend about this. We do not have any family within 500 miles. She had told me about every boyfriend she had ever dated and cared for, except this one. The night I found her text was the first time I ever saw or heard this guy's name. A letter she wrote him, 3 days after I said there can't be any contact ever again with him, was so much like a love letter. I read it and told her, wow, I can't compete with the memories you have of this guy, which I didn't know about the letter until I read her text to a friend saying he got the letter and wants nothing to do with me. She did not tell me about it. That day was May 3rd. She didn't tell me anything else about him. Not even his last name, till I found out when she looked him up on our iPad August 6th. I am in agony, I am scared, I am sad, and I am pissed. I do not want to be alone for the rest of my life. I need people. I need people who I care about and care about me. I am more afraid that if we do end up in D, I will never be able to trust another completely. And I also know that if I ever start back with my wife or someone else, that I have the potential to be the WS, something I didn't think I was capable of prior to this life-changing event. I feel financially screwed here also. I was paid last week and she sent me a text saying I needed to deposit 100% of my check into our joint account so we can stay current on our family's bills. I said, I have to be able to pay for my rent, utilities, groceries. She said ask your mom for a loan. So, I deposited my check in our joint account. Have not asked my mom for money. I did it because I am the one who moved out knowing I have a responsibility for the mortgage, 2 cars, 3 insurance policies, etc. But what is not my responsibility is the thousands of dollars charged on our credit cards for her clothes, purses, makeup, etc. I am wondering if I should say, This is what I am depositing into the joint account to pay for items 1, 2, 3, and keep the majority of my pay. She has gone off the deep end when it comes to spending money, but I feel guilty. Because I am the one who left. I knew something wasn't right with this financial situation. And yes, my wife works and makes more money than I do. Hopefully, she will agree to talk to me tomorrow. She has turned me down twice so far this week to talk. I have opened up my own checking account with some money I have, but I can't live on just that. I need to put some money in my account. I make way too much money to have to live like I am now. I have not contacted a lawyer. Didn't think I needed to just yet. She has not done anything physical with this guy. Pretty sure with no one else either. From all the texts back and forth to each other was just talk about meeting up together for the first time in 23 years on May 1st after he had his meeting here in our city. I told her that I would pay the mortgage and both car payments if she could handle the rest. She got mad and said keep your ducking money. I said no, this place is my responsibility also. If I were to pay for the cars and mortgage, I would still have money for me to live. Small update. Wife will not talk about anything to me other than the kids. She will not talk to my daughter about the situation, just tells her everything will be fine. Last night on the phone, my daughter broke down crying, saying Mom is so different. I know she is upset, but she is not seeing how upset I am. This broke my heart. I am my daughter's rock, and I am not there for her. And she feels alone. I will talk to my wife on Sunday, whether she likes it or not. I will only tell her what is happening financially and how she is hurting my daughter. I contacted a lawyer this week, a friend from home, who was an usher at our wedding, and asked his opinion on what steps legally I need to take for separation rights and eventually D. I have been so busy, I have not started. I know I said I would, and I will. I really need someone in my life to prod me on to take care of myself. Other than the hundreds of people I am responsible 24 hours a day. I moved out on August 8th. It has been horrible. I miss my daughter and home immensely. Moving out was not difficult. I just took my clothes, left everything that was ours. Over the last month my wife has refused to speak with me about anything but the 2 kids. 18 boy, 15 daughters, and finances. I am still depositing 2/3 of my paycheck into our joint account to stay on top of the bills. My wife makes more money than I do, but I refuse to change the finances to the point my daughter or son feel the ramifications financially. I live meagerly, just withholding enough for rent, utilities, and groceries. I do not spend any money that is in our joint account, just some from my own savings and 1/3 of my paycheck. We very briefly talked about me being home this past Sunday, yard work, spending time with my daughter, etc. And she said that it was good having me home, and she even told me that she told my daughter that Daddy is my best friend. I guess I just need to be patient and figure it out when we both are ready to agree to R through MC or end it. Living alone sucks. I need IC to see if I can get over the resentment and the feelings of betrayal. I am scared though that if I cannot, I will not be able to trust anyone, let alone my wife if we do attempt R. My son just started college, paying for room and board and books, dorm stuff, etc. Also, I had a new air comfort system installed this summer and those bills began to roll in. That's why we're low on funds in August. I moved out. She can do what she wants to as I can as well. Neither is dating anyone, seeing anyone. She has been going out with friends and that's fine. Her AP is far away. Although I still don't think she is out of the fog of her emotional affair. And that's a huge reason I left. That and the trickles were a beatdown over time. Again, I moved out, but technically under the same roof. We have been separated for a long time and I am not sure of our future, so us remaining friends is very important to our kids. And yes, the kids are aware, not of the indiscretions, but of what I am doing and what she is doing for the future of our family. Half a year later, I have been in IC. She refused to attend MC with a therapist and friend, and they are both telling me it's not my place to expose and to take the high road. Since moving out, I have not attempted any R because wife and her former boyfriend, who she has not seen in 22 years, are still in contact. While they are still in contact, there is no way I am considering R. I know now, I should have exposed immediately. Now, as time has passed, I feel so much better about my future. I am less anxious and actually optimistic about things. Although I still miss my daughter and dog immensely. Question, with where I am now, how I view my future. D. Should I expose? Expose to my wife's family. My wife's family thinks I abandoned the home. And the OMW. I want to. That's the vengeful side of me. I want him to suffer like I have, or let it go and not have to deal with the mess of it over again. I know if I do expose to the OMW, my wife will be angry, honestly. I do not care about that, but I will have to deal with it on some certain level. I do have written evidence, text, and emails and proving everything I claim. I have given my STBXW every opportunity to apologize for the lies and denials. To this day, she promises me she no longer is in contact. Then, 30 minutes later she is texting or emailing him. I am no way afraid of this guy. If he wants some of this, he can bring it. The night I found all these texts, I threatened to drive 8 hours to speak to him. At the current time, I do not see any way I could ever be with this woman again. She lied and denied me out of the home and family we had for 20 years. She said that if I ever exposed this to the OMW, there would never be any chance of us reconciling. She has protected him and his family more than she has offered to our family. It just pisses me off that he gets to enjoy, maybe he doesn't, his marriage and kids and I don't. But, then again, how happy were we prior to her emotional affair? I am thankful for this forum. I have looked at it every day since I discovered it back in May. I hope to hear more replies on this exposure topic, but I do have one more question for y'all. When should I reveal my evidence on her? Does it now, to show her that I know she is and has been lying the whole time, or do I simply wait and use it in negotiating when going through the D? That is another reason I have not exposed. Use exposure as leverage and using my evidence as leverage. My biggest mistake, not exposing when becoming aware of who he was. All of May, June, and most of July. I did not who I was dealing with on the other end of this emotional affair. Now, I found out about the emotional affair at the end of April. She never gave up his last name. I found it in July. That is when I found out everything about him, his wife, his kids, his job, her job, and his Facebook page. August came, I moved out, got incredibly busy with work, which was a godsend, working 80+ hours per week. My wife is the pursuer in this. I thought moving out would get her out of the fog, but it did not, and I have grown out of love with her. I need to give her the I love you but not in love with you because I do love her. She is the mother of my children and made the sacrifices that have allowed me to become successful in my profession. Therefore, forgiveness could be relatively easy for me. Forgetting, never. I am filing on Monday morning and exposing to OMW later that day. I have everything I need now. I do realize the mistakes I have made, all of them from D-Day to even now. Keeping the evidence from my wife was to protect from the emotional affair. My W and AP have not seen each other since 1988, going underground. Well, come to find out, my W contacted a D attorney on Tuesday that specializes in mediation, so now I do not have to explain to her what a mediation D is. I just want to be done with this M and move on. And yes, I am still going to expose my W to his W and to her family so everyone will know I was not the one that went outside of the marriage and the ultimate end of it. This pisses me off, but I had dinner on Thursday night with mutual friends of my W and I. And the W said she went 3 months mad at me for moving out until she found out what my W did. If I had to go through all this again, this is what I'd do. 1. Expose immediately to everyone. 2. Kick her out of the house and stay with my daughter and dog. 3. Keep every dime of my money. 4. And most of all, not believe a single word that comes out of her mouth. A month later, told my STBX, I am ready to D you now. I am now mentally where you were when you decided to go outside of our marriage to search for something you did not want to do with me. I told her she has until Monday 5 p.m. to agree to mediation D and share an attorney, or I am filing with my own attorney. Now, I am not fearful of her or my kids' safety. Also, I told the OM, I tell you what, I'll be there when you get off the airplane, because I know what you look like by the photos you sent my W. Have a nice day. He did not respond, nor did I go. The one I got a response to was, hey other man, it's me OP, I am in your town, not far from your house. I'll be over shortly. I am going to drag you outside and show you how I really feel. Hope to meet your W and kids. It was Thanksgiving Day and he said he was calling the cops and his lawyer. I didn't go, just wanted to mess with the coward. Haven't messed with him since, but when the D is final in a few months, his family will hear everything, just for my satisfaction. My comment: I'm on the fence about revenge affair. Some people think it's part of the 180. I think it is just a short thing to get your mind off your marriage or relationship. Best thing is just meet and talk to the other gender, and you'll be surprised on who you meet. And guess what? You will meet someone who is more beautiful, more kind, more honest than your betraying spouse. So, keep your head up, and you will meet someone who actually cares about you.